Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. They said that Aquaman could struggle to keep pace with Bumblebee, Into the Spider-Verse and Mary Poppins Returns. They said this period would be too overcrowded for Aquaman to even break any records or get anywhere near a billion. Guess what? Aquaman is projected to maybe clear $1 billion at the global box office. This is unprecedented. DC have had a Batman v Superman movie. The DCEU have had a Man of Steel. We've had Wonder Woman. You know, these are the three biggest characters, in DC Comics. And not even they could get to $1 billion, right? Wonder Woman did well. I still think Batman v Superman did well without going the big billion or 2 billion or whatever, which people basically think it should have, but they think because it wasn't a mainstream movie, that's why. But Man of Steel, also a Superman movie, but Aquaman would have been the last film that we ever would have thought would get anywhere near $1 billion. It's amazing. How has this happened, especially with all the competition? And the projecting of female leads doing better than male leads, which I don't know where they've got this from. They've plucked up a couple of movies, basically, especially Wonder Woman. That there's no evidence that female-led movies do better than male ones. Listen, I don't care. If I like a film and it does well, it does well. But I didn't start this war, this fake war. They did. The media did. Hollywood did. They want to wipe out all alpha male-led movies and claim that female ones do better. It's just not true. If that's the case, how comes Poppins Returns, right, and Bumblebee, both female-led movies, can't get near Aquaman? This would have been the perfect moment for it to be proved, and they can't prove it. They can't prove it because the evidence is just not there. These people are the gift that keeps on giving. Aquaman is doing well. There's repeat screenings. I actually found it funny on Twitter that James Wan kind of shared this article that said many young and older women are going to see this. Well, this is not breaking the fourth wall, everyone. Women love Momoa. It's an added thing, so I'm assuming we're going to get a lot of Momoa in DC movies in the future. They might as well greenlight another 5 Aquaman films, right? But that's another thing, isn't it? More women, right, of a variety of ages, right, are going to see Aquaman rather than the female-led Bumblebee and Mary Poppins Returns. This is funny. This is brilliant. They keep on going on about, female leads. It's what women want. They want to see more women on the big screen, strong female characters. Well, they do. So they went and watched Mira on Aquaman, who is actually a better character than Mary Poppins in Mary Poppins Returns and the young character in Bumblebee. It's just a fact. But it's funny because Aquaman does give you the whole package, doesn't it? You've got the strong female lead, which is Mira, and it's a really well-written character as well, and she performs it really well. You've got Momoa. Everyone, listen, the thing is with Momoa, it's not just women who love him. Everybody loves Momoa. I've said this before in a video. He's an everyman. People love him. He's a bit like Rocky, right? Not Stallone, but actually the character of Rocky. People see themselves within him. Women, men, it's just brilliant. And nobody could have projected because his films have never got anywhere near. I mean, he's done very few led things, to be honest with you. So this is really the first movie I think he's even led. Correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. But it is massive. Now, the money men at Warner Brothers will understand this and will cast more kind of people like him. The Rock playing Black Adam is very important, very similar type of people. People love The Rock. And there's been crap films The Rock's been in that have done really, really well. Even Baywatch, which was a flop, did a lot better than it should have done. That's because of The Rock. But yeah, was The Rock in Baywatch? I'm confused. I've literally just woken up. Anyway, down below you can correct me because I get things wrong. So it's really good because I'm really in a DCEU frame of mind right now. Well, actually, I always am. I actually put my subwoofer and my kind of what's it called? My speaker um, to the max and watch the Man of Steel. And what I do is I sit on top of the subwoofer. Not literally, that will be weird. I get my chair and I just slide it over top of it. And it is awesome. Man of Steel is such a cinematic film. And this is this is what the DCEU has over the MCU. Because, and that's thanks to Zack Snyder. That's thanks to James Wan. That's thanks to Patty Jenkins. Those films are so cinematic. They look beautiful, but they actually are great movies all the way around. Someone from IGN was saying, talking about the No Man's Land sequence. Excuse me. Someone on IGN was talking about the No Man's Land sequence, and they were saying, "Oh, this has got to be the best action sequence in a superhero movie." Yes, but the point is, the DCEU has many emotional, memorable kind of sequences like this. Man of Steel has, just take your pick. Batman v Superman has, just take your pick. Suicide Squad has, Wonder Woman has. That's what we do have over the MCU. And this is the thing with the MCU. It's very successful, but it's also very generic. And for me personally, doesn't have that rewatchability quality, which clearly the DCEU has. Now, people are going back to watch Aquaman, even though there's Spider-Verse, even though there's Poppins Returns, and even though there's Bumblebee. This wasn't meant to happen. This is outrageous, really, because it's so jam-packed with these films. You would have thought people would have watched Aquaman, then go and watch these films, other films. Now, some people are doing that, admittedly. I mean, I've seen the pattern. It'll be very interesting with drop-offs in the US, but I think in a lot of ways, the US box office has become irrelevant. It's so funny. Whatever it does in the US is a bonus, but it's so funny now. Warner Brothers have been so clever internationally and globally that they can literally make so much more money over there than they can. America, look, North America is a big country with a big population. There's no question about that. But I think Warner Brothers have just found a way to double the viewing figures or triple them or even quadruple them internationally and globally, that America, even if they do make a kind of lower size of the pudding, which they're not, it'll be interesting what happens in America if all of a sudden more people watch Poppins Returns and Bumblebee. I doubt it, but it's going to be very, very interesting. But ultimately, this is funny because I remember with Justice League did better globally, especially in China and places like that, and in the UK, than it did in America. Now, Justice League had its issues, but because it did so well globally, it made up its final box office to 650, which for a film of its condition and state and its what happened behind the scenes is amazing. It's amazing in the sense that they got their money back and were able to pay all their bills, right, on budget. They didn't make any money or didn't make a lot of money on top of it, but at least it wasn't an official flop. It didn't lose money. There's no question about that. Justice League never lost money. So internationally and globally, Warner Brothers and the DCEU are becoming so strong that the Disney-loving American audience can carry on with their Rotten Tomatoes and their reviews and doing their YouTube videos saying DCEU is finished, DCEU is rubbish, Aquaman's not great, whatever that means. But it doesn't matter. You can't damage this franchise or this studio anymore because they have found a way to go above the steak-chomping American, movie fan who has to, yes, Rotten Tomatoes, what do you want me to watch? Yes, Scott Mendelson, Grace Randolph, I will do whatever you say. It's gone beyond that now. Warner Brothers are so clever, they have made the American box office irrelevant. And this is massive because the knives are always out for Warner Brothers, we know it, and the knives are always out for the DCEU. So now the international audience, the global audience are propping the DCEU up. And it's absolutely fantastic because if Aquaman actually does reach 1 billion, it's a massive achievement. I said this yesterday. Aquaman isn't, if you grade him in superhero terms, in historical terms, he's not very high up. Nowhere near Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. So for this film to reach $1 billion is massive. So what do you think, guys? Is it awesome that Aquaman could reach $1 billion? Is it funny that it's beaten 2 female-led movies? Is it funny that it's beaten Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, a Marvel movie, by the way, not MCU, but still a Marvel movie? So there's lots of victories here. Now, my next video should be, don't quote me on this, but it should be about Man of Steel 2 and the Snyder Cut, hopefully being announced in 2019. I've been talking to a few people about this, and it's looking very positive.